Hello, everybody, and welcome back to My Two Cents, the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a very special couple that is somewhat internet famous, somewhat, I don't know how to actually explain it, but it's Miss Netta and Charles. We're going to be talking about the fame, the drama, and the scandal. Okay? So let's get into this podcast and see what they've been into, how all of this started, how all this began. We want to know how they met. We want to know, how this whole, you know, Joe and Netta thing, this Miss Netta, like, who are they? Who are they? Where did they come from? How did this all happen? We've got to break this thing down, right? So let's jump right into it. The fame, drama, and scandals. The true story behind Miss Netta and Charles' viral success. So the rise of Miss Netta and Charles, right? In the beginning, in the world of internet personalities, Joe Robinson, aka Miss Netta, and Rolandis Alexander, aka Charles, have become household names, famous for their viral comedy sketches and engaging social media presence. The rise to fame powered by Joe's bold personality and Charles, uh, that catchphrase, Charles, your lunch is ready. Miss Netta would come out and she would do the whole jiggle and, stand there and smile, all big and say, Charles, your lunch is ready. And that, Charles would come out and sit down and eat. Anyway, that whole thing captivated, thousands, if not even millions of people. And I literally mean all over the world. Like they're from Alabama, but all over the world, people know Miss Netta and Charles, right? However, behind the laughter and the viral moments, there's a darker, more complex story. So let's take a closer look at the truth behind Miss Netta and Charles, their tumultuous journey, and the controversy that surrounds them. Who are Joe Robinson and Rolandis Alexander? Well, Joe Robinson, known online as Miss Netta, transitioned from male to female, sort of, and has gained significant attention for his unapologetic, bold personality. Some say that Joe has used their life, we'll say right? Their life story, including their transition. It gets a little confusing, doesn't it? To fuel their online presence and carve out a niche in the comedy and social media space. Because remember, Joe Robinson said that he was a comedian. He started out as a comedian. So Miss Netta and Charles are like characters, right? There's also rumors that Joe Robinson served time in prison in the past, though there's no concrete proof to verify that claim, at least none that I could find. So if you guys in the comments know about this, drop it in the comments and let us know. Okay? Rolandis Alexander, aka Charles, is another key figure in this duo. He is best known for his role in their viral videos and the Charles, your lunch is ready. He is the Charles in the catchphrase. While much of his life remains a mystery, Rolandis is often seen in Joe's live streams and skits, creating an entertaining dynamic. Some fans speculate that Rolandis might have spent time in prison as well, and that Joe and Rolandis might have met in prison. But again, I couldn't confirm that. I couldn't find any records or anything. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if it's just a rumor or if it's actually true. I don't know. But again, if you guys know anything in the comments, because we are on Riverside right now, just in case you didn't know, this is going to go up on Spotify and we are on YouTube. So their online chemistry has led to an ongoing viral presence with both engaging audiences daily via live streams and social media posts. So the music career, they have music, in case you guys didn't know. I know a lot of you guys have heard Charles, your lunch is ready. And wow. So all I can say is wow. But listen, what's surprising about Joe and Rolanda's rise to fame is their they're into the music industry. So the duo released Charles, Your Lunch is Ready, which quickly went viral thanks to its catchy chorus and viral TikTok moments, right? So the song became a hit on music platforms like Apple Music and Shazam. Did you guys know that? Proving that Joe and Rolandis were more than just social media personalities, they were music stars in the making. I don't know how anybody, like, it must have been one of those things where, you just downloaded to see, what's going on, but they literally did it. And so in 2025, they released another track called I Know That I'm a Man, diving deeper into the themes of self-identity and transformation, which resonated with their audience. So the music industry wasn't always kind to them, though. There were delays in releasing the music video for their first track, which led to fan frustration. But despite these setbacks, they continue to keep their audience engaged and entertained. So the controversy with this is there. Okay, they released at least 3 songs, right? And the second song was more like a bopped up tune to Charles Your Lunch is Ready or whatever. I Know That I'm a Man. I If you guys know that it was released or not, let me know in the comments because I've not heard it. But then again, I haven't been looking for it. Let's just, keep it a buck. I wasn't impressed with the first 2 songs. Like, I don't know. So I don't know that I'm going to be looking for I Know That I'm a Man. Nevertheless, let's talk about the controversy and drama. Is it all just for show? So while the music and comedy routines, which they really don't do anymore, if I'm being honest, the skits and stuff that they used to do, you really don't see them anymore. And I feel like that's why, they're falling off. But anyway, they were certainly entertaining. Controversy always seems to follow Joe Robinson and Rolandis Alexander. Joe's presence on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube is daily, as they regularly go live to engage with fans. So Miss Netta was banned from TikTok, right? For different reasons, but she frequently claims that she has no interest in returning to TikTok. And then the other day she was like, well, I might come back to TikTok. I don't know. Anyway, Charles maintains a TikTok account, right? And engages with his audience there, keeping the duo's viral momentum alive. Plus, people screenshot their live streams all the time and upload them to TikTok. So it's not like her presence isn't on TikTok. She just got kicked off of TikTok, right? So it's clear that the social media um, there plays a major role in their rise to fame because people keep attaching, Miss Netta and Charles to TikTok and oh my God, the information that I found on Facebook was like wild, okay? They have a little bit on Instagram, but to be honest with you, on Instagram, I think Netta goes live. I haven't seen a whole lot of posts on Instagram, but I know she uses Instagram Live. So literally, when I see in Joe and Rolandis on YouTube, there are several different phones and or cameras going, right? Because you've got one for Facebook, you've got one for Instagram, you've got one for YouTube, possibly TikTok, if Rolandis is, filming as well, if he's live as well. So there's that, okay? So for example, right? The article says it's clear that social media plays a major role in their rise to fame, but it hasn't come without some consequences. For example, in this article, during one of their live streams earlier this year, Rolandis revealed he lost his job. So this moment went viral, with viewers hearing him shout in the background while Joe asked what was wrong. Although the duo continued the live stream as if nothing happened, this incident raised more questions about their personal struggles, right? So then we get into the credit woes and allegations of financial mismanagement, which was found in some comments and some leaked information on Facebook. One of the more concerning aspects of Joe and Rolanda's story involves the claim that Rolanda's credit score dropped from a 500 to a 200, which is horrible, allegedly due to Joe Robinson's actions. So fans on social media have speculated that Joe's financial choices ruined Rolanda's credit score, but there is no solid evidence to confirm this. But there's been, stuff like the car, the house, the travel, this and that and the other. Um, and it is speculated, I'm going to say it's speculated, allegedly, this is a part of the reason why Joe needed Charles. Why Joe needed Rolanda's, because Joe didn't have that type of money, and at the time Rolanda's was a certified welder. Now people are saying, hey, he can't even get a job because of Joe Robinson. So that's the speculation. However, it is a topic of conversation among fans still today, further adding to the ongoing drama that surrounds the couple. So personal lives and family drama. In this particular section, all right, beyond their viral content, Rolanda's has a son, which he has shared in videos, though very little is known about the child's mom. Some say she is of a different race. We'll say it like this. Remember, we're on YouTube, so we have to be careful. Fans speculate that the mother is of a different race, but no definitive details about her, like her name, her, where she lives, how long they were together, and the big speculation is because Miss Netta and Charles are fabricated that Rolanda's really is not gay, that he is straight and he has a relationship outside of Miss Netta and Charles, right? So in the realm of online rumors, people claim that Joe has been very involved in Rolanda's life, but there is little clarity on the real dynamics between Rolanda's and the mother of their child. And Joe, we don't know if Joe actually knows this woman, has met this woman, but if the rumors are true and all of this is like, they really don't live together, they're really not, a couple in real life, then we're sure that, Joe has seen this girl, met this girl, or something like that. Additionally, some fans have suggested on Facebook that Joe and Rolanda's may have met while incarcerated, though there's no, we don't know that to be true. There's no pictures, and I don't have a lot of experience on, I'm not an authority on prison life or any of that stuff. So, even though I have seen photographs of people in prison and locked up and stuff like that, I don't know if that's a thing. Do you have to sneak and do it? Do they allow you to do it? Like, I don't know. But anyway, I would like to see, evidence of that, but that is a really huge rumor on Facebook. And it leaves many people to wonder what the true backstory is. So the next section is the impact on fans, a mix of support and criticism. So the online drama surrounding Joe Robinson and Rolandis Alexander has sparked strong reactions from fans and haters, right? On one hand, they have a dedicated fan base that enjoys their content and keeps coming back for more. On the other hand, there are increasing calls for accountability, with petitions circulating online for fans for brands to distance themselves from Joe and Rolandis due to alleged derogatory remarks that Joe made about Black women. Many see Joe's behavior as problematic, and the division has become a significant talk pointing among their audience. So despite this, their fame continues to grow, with Joe regularly thanking fans for their support. Some claim that the controversies are a part of their character, and that they're playing into a large narrative of attention-seeking behavior. Others believe their drama is a reflection of deeper personal struggles and they deserve empathy and understanding. Me, here's the thing. And this is, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but this is me. I feel like now, and that some of this information, has been leaked, okay? Leaked to the social media press that Joe actually was a caregiver for Rolandis's father, okay? Rolandis's father passed away, okay? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm just giving you what's online, okay? Because they're internet sensations, right? What did Netta say? Joe said, we're icons, we're social media icons. So, you're gonna have things leaked, right? So for the social media icons, it is said that Joe was a caregiver, right? The caregiver actually, cared for Rolandis's father. The father passed away. Joe gives Rolandis an opportunity and says, hey, we can come up with these characters, Miss Netta and Charles, right? I'm sorry, you guys, if you can hear that noise, there's a train in the background. I live in the country, and there is a train in the background. So Rolandis agrees, and then Miss Netta and Charles was born. So, again, this is just what was leaked online, okay? So as of now, Miss Netta and Charles continue to be a fixture on the internet as, viral personalities, right? People keep showing up for them. There were over 800 people in their live stream today, according to just YouTube alone, because it was Rolandis's birthday and or Charles's birthday. I can't keep the character straight. I can't keep the character from the actual person straight. So I'm assuming it was Rolandis's birthday. Like, I don't know. But anyway, people keep showing up for them. People keep watching. And so as long as that happens, the algorithm is going to say, hey, this is a hot topic. This is a hot commodity. We're going to keep this, in your feed. People say, how do these people keep popping up in my feed? Because people keep them in the media. People that, and for whatever reason, people love to watch a train wreck, and this train wreck is going to continue to be looked at because people want to see what's going to happen next. And it's so odd because sometimes Joe will literally just sit there and not say a word. He'll sit there and smile, or he'll sit there and play with his phone, or he'll have a conversation with a lot of people in the audiences saying, he's not talking to anybody. He's not talking to anybody. It's not real. This is a fake conversation. And I'm like, why are y'all spending your time? I might look in on it, or I may run across some of this stuff on, TikTok if I'm being nosy, but in no way am I going to spend 2 hours with Joe Robinson pretending to be Miss Netta, just watching them do nothing. Like, I'm not doing that. In this conclusion, people want to know, how long will the fame last? Can they weather the storm of controversy surrounding their personal lives? Only time will tell. Whether you love them or you hate them, Joe Robinson and Rolandis Alexander have certainly made their mark in Alabama and on the internet, and their story is still unfolding. That's crazy. TikTok's famous Joe and Rolandis. Okay, listen, I'm not trying to be messy or anything, but let me just give you some facts. It is a fact that on change.org, there is a petition to remove Netta and Charles from all sponsored brands. They're asking for 300 signatures, and they're almost there. 16.2 million posts as of yesterday were discovered on TikTok. Yeah. Discover videos related to Joe and Rolandis on TikTok. 16.2 million posts have been made. And I'm going to assume very few are by Charles. Netta supposedly doesn't have an account, and all the rest of these are people screen recording and, putting them up there. That is insane. That's insane. I thought this was going to go on longer than this, but I will say from the 4 articles that I saw, there's so much information out there, and I am going to go to another source really quick and just because there was so much information, and I don't think that I can give all of this information in one one thing. There's absolutely no way because it was so much, and there were so many comments from fans and from sources. It was unreal. And yeah, that is me um scrolling to see, because listen, let me tell y'all, when I started searching this, some of the stuff, and this is just like stuff that I found, right? Because I don't know these people. Yes, I live in Alabama, but I don't know these people, right? So one of the things I found out that Miss Netta was born Jerry K. Robinson, started going by Joe Robinson, and then Miss Netta. All 3 names is the same person. Y'all, just different aliases. He's trans. So he didn't make a full transition, but he's going through, and met Charles in prison. His ex-wife always knew he was trans, but he put her through a lot, and she feels that Charles is Miss Netta karma. Drug, alcohol, and domestic violence allegedly have been a part of the relationship since Miss Netta was born a male but identifies as a female. Simple. So that was one of the comments from that was leaked on Facebook, right? How true it is, we don't know. Okay. We don't know. Um, Another comment, Joe Robinson, aka Miss Netta, SEX is categorized as male. Gender-wise, Joe Robinson, aka Miss Netta, seeks identities, behaviors, and expressions of a woman. Another person says Joe Robinson, aka Miss Netta, is directly disrespectful, using technology to target, embarrass, harass, and threaten women, especially, specifically, chocolate women, black women. YouTube, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Um, this is what the public is saying, right? Joe Robinson, aka Miss Netta, derogatory behavior is in the form of profane, disparaging language and aggressiveness towards black women. And please do not support the behavior of Joe Robinson or businesses that support Miss Netta and Charles. So we found that out online. What I do want to say is that in no way, and I'm gonna try to slip this in, but this is in no way to tear anyone down. It's about accountability, truth, and protecting the dignity of Black women who are constantly under attack online. Today, we have been talking about Joe Robinson, also known online as Miss Netta, and his partner Charles. And I want to add in there that I have never heard Charles do these things. Only Miss Netta. Never heard Charles do these things, right? You may know them from viral videos, often filled with loud humor and exaggerated drama, but behind the entertainment is a pattern that deserves a closer look. And that's what we were doing today. All right. So, we don't want you thinking that this was, an attack or we're dragging. This is clearly just information and what fans are saying. So a fan on Facebook says, so you mean to tell me that Charles and Joe Robinson Netta have been faking it the whole time, just for fame, and Joe really takes care of Charles' dad? This was like 3 years ago. Charles' favorite color is the number 3. And she says, cancel. Wow. So this is probably part of the article where it says that Joe was really taking care of Charles's dad, because a lot of people were saying that, not just as one person. And then this article says, so let me get this straight. Charles Joe Robinson, aka, it said the same thing. And then this part took me out. Charles' favorite color is 3, not blue, not red, but 3. I can't make this up. That's the type of comment that makes you laugh first, then go, wait, what are we even watching? Oh no, that's crazy. Uh, On Serious Take, it says, all jokes aside, this fan's comment shows that the audience is starting to question the authenticity of what they're seeing. When the layers peel back and we find out what's really going on, it becomes clear this might not just be funny content. It could be manipulation, exploitation, and deeper dysfunction being displayed for the clicks. A lot of people are speculating that Charles is being manipulated by Miss Netta, or Joe is manipulating Rolandis, right? 6 days ago, someone posted, y'all, Miss Netta, aka Joe Robinson, is on here, meaning online, begging for money, while today, totally torpedoing Charles's credit score. He went from a 700, it says, to a 200. So that sounds a little bit better, but worse at the same time, because I was like, 500 isn't good, but he went from a 700 score to a 200 score. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment. I'm like, wow, like, what happened? But then, like I said, fans speculated that Joe needed Rolandis for the money and for the come up. Because in order to make Miss Netta and Charles work, you needed somebody. And even though Charles, a certified welder, was working, had a job, Joe probably said, hey, guess what? The money is there. He's got money. We can use this money. And then, we can blow up on social media. And, he won't miss anything. You know what I'm saying? Since they already knew each other, allegedly, from Joe being a caregiver to Rolandis' dad, allegedly. So we don't really know what went on behind the scenes. This is all just, the fans talking, stuff being leaked, and, people leak stuff all the time. We don't know how true some of this is. So So someone said in their commentary, now if this is true, and I'm saying if, then we really have to ask, what type of relationship is this? A 700 to 200 credit score drop isn't just a financial mishap. That's financial abuse. It's reckless, especially if it's being done while asking the public for money on live streams. That's not a love story. That's a liability. People might think it's funny at first, but credit damage like that can ruin your ability to get housing, a car, even a job. So while the views and the likes may be rolling in, somebody's real life is being torn down in the background, and that's not cute. As speculated with the car note being so high, and no telling what the insurance is like, the fact that they live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, which there's nothing wrong with that if Netta and Charles actually, I need a drink of water, actually live there. And like I said, we don't know if these are characters, and if these are characters, then it's like, do you live in the same house after the cameras go off? Like, we don't know. Joe says they do. Joe says, they're legally married and they live in the same house. Charles, aka Rolandis, seems to be unbothered by this whole thing, right? He does. He seems to be very bothered. January 9, 2024, a fan posted, not Netta and Charles, not in a real relationship. Joe Robinson is Netta's name, and Charles in a relationship with a vanilla woman, right? And this allegedly was posted on TikTok. So, speculation say this post. is another piece of internet puzzle that's fueling the growing suspicion around Miss Netta and Charles's public image. It's messy, it's dramatic, and it's exactly the kind of thing that makes for a powerful moment on the internet. I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy. That is insane. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? What do you guys think? Somebody said, are we watching a love story or a stage soap opera? And what is the point? When do we stop laughing and start recognizing the real harm? People are already recognizing it. People are already recognizing it. Another post, April 2nd, Facebook post, Joe Netta is jealous of women in general, and is jealous of Shamar, right? I don't know how true that is. I don't know why this was written, but this is what someone said on April 2nd. He thinks everybody wants Charles. And then goes on to say the fall off train has been coming for them, but they refuse to get on it. It's y'all's fault for making them famous in 2023. So all of this started in 2023, according to a fan. And I can't see them leaving the internet. I can see things slowing down. I think that Joe Robinson knows that, hey, we're not as big as, we once were. Joe seems to think, by way of one of his live streams, he seems to think that Charles Your Lunch is Ready is played out. So he's looking for other things. But the reality is, when the skits were, happening and he was like going to other people's houses and, he was overweight before the weight loss surgery or the, liposuction and the BBLs and the facial things like the facelifts and all that. Before all of that, people really tuned in. They were, entertained because it was a funny train wreck and we all knew that Joe Robinson, was just doing this for fun. Now, it's become a whole different thing. It's become a whole different thing. And so, yeah, this is, and let's be real, the internet can turn on you really quick. So you have to be careful. If you want internet fame, people, you can do one thing and people will turn on you. So just a year ago, Miss Netta and Charles were viral gold. People couldn't get enough of the chaos, the loud laughs, and the over-the-top lies. But now, the same people who boosted them are calling them out because they're seeing stuff different and they're calling for the fall off. Like, just log off. We don't want to see this. But at the same time, some of them are still tuning in, right? And so we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Well, in this particular podcast, we have talked about the rise and fall of Miss Netta and Charles, exposing the truth behind Miss Netta and Charles. Love or lies, we don't know. From funny to fraud. What happens when viral fame turns toxic? Miss Netta, aka Joe Robinson, and Charles rose to fame in 2023 with wild lives, chaotic lives, and questionable love. But now fans are asking, is it all fake? So we've broke down some things. We've looked at some receipts. We've talked about the rumors and, the real consequences. It's cost Rolandis, his credit. Allegedly, it's, cost them their reputation. Allegedly, it has cost Rolandis his job. Allegedly. So we don't know. Jerry K. Robinson, Joe Robinson, Miss Netta, we don't know what their plot was or is. Maybe it was something that started and he didn't mean for it to go that far, but it did, and now it's like, we're stuck, in this love lie relationship and can't get out. We don't know. We don't know. We're just going to keep watching and we're going to see how this unfolds. We're going to see, you know, We're going to see how this pans out because it's interesting, to say the least. It's interesting, to say the least. They were once TikTok and Facebook gold, loud, messy, and supposedly in love. But I gotta agree with the audience, you guys. I gotta agree with the audience in saying that, hey, listen, Rolanda's never really looked interested. We never see Rolanda's, all up on Netta. But if it's a real woman, you know what I'm saying? We can see him very cozy, very relaxed, very, relatable, very comfortable. Not so comfortable with Joe, but very comfortable in the presence of a natural woman, a woman that, if you were born a female, I should say it like that, right? So we looked at if the relationship, was a real connection or a crafted storyline. Well, now we know. Miss Netta is not Miss Netta. It is a fictional character, as is Charles. Notice Miss Netta and Charles don't even have last names. It's just Miss Netta and Charles. So we have Joe Robinson and we have Rolandus Alexander, which are the real people. So you have to remember that these are characters, fictional characters. Okay? This is not, you know what I mean? These are not real people. These are characters. And I think where Joe is concerned, he has gotten it twisted. And I think, yeah, I'm just saying, it just looks like he's very comfortable being Miss Netta, and Charles looks like he wants people to call him by his real name and just forget this whole, Netta and Charles thing. Which is probably why he works on his gaming channel so much. He works on the gaming channel a lot. And he likes playing his video games. He has a Twitch, and a lot of people on a live stream one day went, directly. I was scrolling through TikTok. I said, "Oh, let's see what Charles is doing." And I got in the comments, and I was like, "You may not even see this, but I was just wondering what your Twitch handle was." So he gave everybody his Twitch handle, and people, were rushing, to Twitch and rushing to YouTube because he was on YouTube as well, live, playing the game, and they wanted to support. And it seemed like Joe got really upset. Did not like that at all. And I thought, is it because I'm a woman and I asked? Or, is it because all the other women were rushing over? Like, what are you mad about? It wasn't just like you allegedly coerced Rolandus into this opportunity that you presented to him for internet fame and fortune, right? So, yeah, you need to be very clear. Okay. You need to be very clear in knowing that, this is, this is what's going to happen. Now, if you're on YouTube, and I don't know if I can do this. Let me get a window capture here. Let me get a window capture so I can show you something. I want to show you guys something. So what is this? Oh no, not video capture, honey. I want to show you, I want it to be a window caption. I want to capture this window, and I want to show you a picture. If you guys are on YouTube, let me go here. Do you see that? Y'all see those pictures? Miss Netta, your sloppy Joe is ready. Here is the vanilla lady. Wow. So Netta is really Joe. Charles is really Rolandus. Charles has a real family and girlfriend or wife. Her name is Shannon. Then here, this picture, they're saying, I can't make out the words or whatever, but I thought, I don't know. Somebody was saying, I thought something. I thought, and I knew something was going on, but it turns out that this is what it is. So Joe Robinson took a picture with a man and a child. So I'm not 100% sure if like the child that you're seeing on the screen belongs to the man or belongs to Joe. Like I don't know. So now I'm wondering, does Joe have any children? And I couldn't find a picture of Joe's wife. They're saying that Joe had a wife. I don't know where that woman is. I couldn't find any pictures, but I did find a picture of that guy. And I don't know who this guy is. If you guys know who that guy is right there, let us know in the comments. Were they married? Were they in a relationship? Was this a boyfriend? Like, who is that guy? And they're dressed alike. All of them are in red. And as you can see, Joe, back then he was very much overweight, is in the background. So we're seeing that. And then here's Charles, Miss Netta and Charles getting ready for their wedding. So he's putting on his white and black tuxedo. And then we have Joe after the weight loss, looking, slender with the dreads and all of that stuff. We have somebody on TikTok who gave you Charles's yearbook photo. So this is what Charles, aka Rolandus, looks like in high school. So this is really Rolandus Alexander in high school. Okay? Then somebody found a picture, happy 47th birthday to Netta. So if I'm not mistaken, that was last year. Now, I think he's 48. And if I'm not mistaken, they said Rolandus is 37. So there's a bit of an age gap. This is why they make fun of Joe Robinson every live stream or every video, calling him Charles's granddad and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. So somebody dropped an exclusive clip, Joe Robinson, aka Miss Netta, and this is Joe Robinson. This picture that you're seeing on YouTube right here is Joe Robinson before he turned into Miss Netta. This right here is Joe Robinson, the comedian. And this was probably during the time he was either caring for Rolandus's father and or pitching the idea to Rolandus, saying, hey, we can make these characters right here come alive. So Miss Netta's new single, Growing, we found that out. See, if you hang around, you'll find some things out. If you hang around, because I'm telling you, the internet finds out a lot of stuff. The internet knows. So Growing was the next hit single after Charles Your Lunch is Ready. So Miss Netta's new hit single, Growing. So this must be what's on iTunes, the picture that's on iTunes. They're in red for those of you who are on Spotify. They're dressed in red and black. Joe Robinson is dressed up like Netta, okay, and all of that stuff. Then there's a picture of them at their wedding, and Charles is feeding her a piece of cake. And that is a huge piece of cake on that gold plate. That's insane. There's another picture here, pancake and sausage wrapped in a boiled egg. That's crazy. That sounds disgusting. But this is either Charles cooking for Netta. I don't know. Then somebody at the bottom says, trying to see what they're going to give. So that must be somebody new watching. Probably, took a screenshot. Poor Charles. He called Netta Joe. This wasn't a skit. Yeah. Sometimes Charles, aka Rolandus, will slip up and call Miss Netta Joe. Especially when you dress up like a leprechaun for, the holidays and stuff like that. Like the green leprechaun outfit was just a bit much, Joe. So yeah, that's insane. That is insane. All right, you guys. That's pretty much it. That is pretty much. Let me check this. I feel like that's pretty much it. I feel like we've gone through everything, and I want to give a shout out to everybody who does this stuff. Okay, that you see that picture right there, YouTube, Charles Your Lunches, right? That was the first album. There's so many photos on here. There are people, look at this, somebody pretending to be somebody pretending that I didn't even know I was sent all of these pictures. Charles, your steak lunch is ready. Charles, your fried rib lunch is ready. Okay, that is somebody totally different. Okay, this is another guy named Joe Robinson. Okay, so they're obviously these two Joe Robinsons don't look anything alike. They're two totally different races, so don't get them confused. Okay. There is Charles Your Lunch is Ready, the remix. I didn't find a cover for that, the remix, but credits go out to Rasta Ray, um, which further cemented their place in the world of music. Their music journey didn't stop there. May 2025, they dropped a new title, I Know That I'm a Man. So again, I haven't seen that. But Apple Music and Shazam is definitely a thing. I won't be going to listen, but it's definitely a thing um, according to all the things. Let's see. All right, the bulk of that information came from Facebook. I'm just making sure that we covered all of this. If you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. Drop everything. Drop all the tea in the comments because that's crazy. This whole thing has been eye-opening to me. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. So yeah, we've covered all of the information. We've seen all of the pictures. Um, golly, God, look at all that. Okay, so anyway, we've seen all of the things. We've done all of the things, and you guys, this has really been crazy. This has been a crazy 47-minute ride. Okay. But I want to thank all of you guys for hanging out with me. Let me give a shout out to you, the audience, for listening, for subscribing, for sharing. If you've made it to the end, a super huge big shout out to you guys. And thank you for listening and watching and supporting, because without you guys, there would be no reason for me doing this and starting a new channel and, doing deep dives, like this. I'm going to try to do a deep dive every week, do some follow-ups and stuff like that, but it is not easy finding a whole lot of information about things. It takes a few days for you to find out information, or hours if you're trying to find this out, like all one, in one day. It's going to take all your day. It's going to take hours. So thank you for, listening to the work, the hard work and dedication that I put in. You guys don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys in a completely different video. Thank you once again, and be blessed. Have a victorious week. And I think, what's today? Today's Thursday. No, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. So the weekend isn't here yet. So I may give you a little snippet of something. I've been thinking about doing follow up on Wendy Williams to see how she's doing and where her case is. So we may do that before the weekend. But in the meantime, be happy, be blessed, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.